All right. Welcome, everyone. How we doing? Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever we are in the world. For today, we're going to be talking about 7 tips to conduct a daily stand-up meeting effectively. However, before I start, I'm going to ask a few questions. Let's not even talk about daily stand-up. Let's talk about meetings generally. What are some things that you think would help for you to be able to conduct a meeting effectively? This is a conversation, so you can unmute yourself and let's talk about it. Just quick ideas. What do you think would help?
Being able to see each other.
Good, face-to-face, great.
Yeah, face.
Have a good agenda.
So having an agenda for the meeting.
Good,
yeah. Good. Being able to speak confidently, boldly, and what else? Being prepared.
Good.
Sticking to the time box.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Inform them early and send a reminder so they don't come late to the stand-up.
Yes. Good.
Creating a conducive environment that everybody has the confidence to speak up and say, participate.
Fantastic. What else?
I would say having a venue, either online or physical.
Good. I'm taking 2 more people.
If it's a meeting that's recurring, ensuring that it's always the same time at the same place so it doesn't cause confusion.
Correct. Consistency. Good. Last question.
Making sure you have the right attendees.
Perfect. Great answers, guys. Great. That's how Scrum Masters think, guys. And senior Scrum Masters too as well. All right, so let's go in. All right. How do we make stand-up effective? You've mentioned a few things that we could do. However, conducting daily stand-up is a productive practice every team should follow. If you're new to the stand-up, here are some tips that would help you succeed. Remember, we want to succeed in everything that we do. With so many of us working remote or hybrid could be going to the office twice a week and working 3 days remotely, or going to the office once a week and working 4 days remotely. It all depends on the organization that you work with. It has become necessary to communicate effectively and clearly with each other. Daily stand-ups, also known as daily Scrum, are known to make teams more efficient, engaged, focused, since everyone knows there as well as their team's tasks and priorities for the week. But the question is how to make them effective on long and tiring Zoom meetings. One thing that makes Agile stand up is the time box. Someone mentioned it. We have to be able to time box our meetings. Nobody wants to spend 2 hours in a meeting that is not productive, or even an hour, even 30 minutes. So why is stand-up important? When done incorrectly, daily stand-up becomes yet another task that clogs your team's calendar. How does the team feel? It's another waste of time. We don't achieve anything going to the stand-up. We don't want that for our team. So we treat stand-up meetings as an opportunity to fully utilize the potential of cooperation rather than a succession of individual reports. It is not a report. It is not a report. A daily stand-up meeting is simple and efficient method to keep the team engaged and ensure everyone is on the same page. We're aligned towards our sprint goal. We're aligned towards the overall PI objective that we have if you are in a safe environment. The most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is a face-to-face conversation. That is one of the Agile principles too as well. So you see why it's very important. All right, now we're going to the 7 tips. First tip, find a time that works for everyone. We work virtually. Some people work Eastern time, others work Central time, some people work Pacific time, some people work Mountain time. That's in the same country. Now we're talking virtual because we have offshore teams. Some people have team members who are in India. If they work on Eastern time, that's 9.5 hours difference between India and EST. If they work in Europe, that's 5 to 6 hours difference. We have to put all those things into time consideration. what time works for everyone. Remember, everyone matters. You can't just be selfish with others and ignoring others too as well. Everybody's time matters. So this is crucial when your team are geographically dispersed. I just gave an example. A few people are working in New York. Others are working here in Texas. Other people are working in California, all different times. And you have other team members working in Arizona too as well, all different times. Taking into consideration the time zones of your team members and find an overlapping time that works for everyone without causing too much pain for any one group. We can't be selfish and say that because we have developers in India, we're going to give them any time that works for us. No, we got to carry everyone along. As long as they're team members, everyone is equal. You can't treat one higher than the other. If you do have members spread across vastly different time zones, see if you can share the pain, meaning each group gives a little so that one group does not have to give a lot. For example, it's always very convenient for people who live Eastern time because most companies have Eastern time as their calendar. So what happens to those in Central? What happens to those in Pacific? What happens to those in Indian time? What happens to those in Europe as well? So everyone has to feel the pain. If they have to wake up an extra hour earlier to accommodate the other ones, I think it's something worth talking about as a team. And remember, it's just 15 minutes. This minute requires collaborative time. So find some small overlap that greatly enhances the team's ability to communicate. It's very key. Let us work together as a team to find a time that works well for everyone. Leave extra time for personal talk. It's not just all about work, work, work. Get to mingle with your team. Get to socialize with them. This is the new world we live in. Enjoy that few minutes. In a virtualized world, we can all feel more isolated and cut off from other human beings we work with on a daily basis. We don't go to the office most times. We're in our own corner. We don't see people like we used to. So remember the days where you actually just swing by and stop by someone's desk and say, hey, how you doing? You grab a coffee together. You just go for lunch together. We can't do that now because most of us work virtually and remotely. So people naturally trust each other more and work better together when we see our co-workers as fellow human beings. We're not robots, we're humans. So I suggest giving your daily Scrum an extra 5 minutes that you use at the top of the meeting. If that works for you, log in early. Encourage people to start logging in early to start conversations. If your stand-up starts at 9 p.m. EST, you guys can log in at 8:55. Start a cool conversation. It always helps. Tell everyone to show up 5 minutes before the daily Scrum so you can maintain typical water cooler conversation while virtual. Talk about anything. Was there a game last night? Talk about it. Talk about your pets. Talk about your plans for the holidays. Anything you guys plan to do, you can talk about. It helps the team feel more relaxed and they feel they have personal connection to your teams because they know the plans you guys have. A bit of a non-professional connection helps prevent employees from feeling isolated while working from home. It's a lot for people to take in working from home. It's not easy. So just this little chit chat here and there, it helps them feel better. Trust me, it will make a difference on your team if you start doing this. Turn cameras on. If we can't be in the same physical space, at least we can see each other. I want to see what you look like. I want to hear I already know what you sound like, but I want to see what you look like. I want to see the expression, your body language. Do you understand what we're talking about? You can tell from people's body languages. But when the camera is off, you don't get to see how they feel. You don't understand if they know what's going on. And if they're going through things, you can easily tell because you're like, oh, this person's always put together. But coming on camera today, I don't see that person put in. And you as a Scrum Master can poke them later to say, hey, everything okay? All good at your end? And you'll be shocked just that thought of how that person would just open up to you and tell you what's going on in their lives. But when the camera is off, you can't really see much about it. So much of conversation is nonverbal. We miss out on a lot when we don't see each other's real face. So I suggest using something like Zoom, speaker view function, where people speaking is bigger and everyone can see that easily. This makes the person who's speaking the center of attention at the moment. It's just different. It will help limit side conversation, and one hopes it will revert any attention that could be misguidedly placed on the Scrum Master back to the developers instead. Remember, our daily Scrum is more about the developers, not for you Scrum Masters and not for the product owner. Visualize team data. So a remote daily Scrum has its own advantage. Yep. You can easily share whether visualization will be most helpful to the team during the meeting. So a couple of things you could share with them. You could share the team's burn down to see how they're doing. Just share it. This is where we are. You don't even need to talk about it. Share it. Everybody sees the board and see, this is where we are. What are we lacking? What do we pull in? And for those who are actually not burning down their hours, they can see just by showing that. And you can also decide to say, you know what, I'm going to be showing the sprint backlog. This shows transparency. It shows the cards that are in development, shows those in progress, shows those that are in code review. And so when the team is actually talking, they can talk through those cards. And when you notice that they skipped one, it's quick for you to have questions. It's easier to say, hey, I noticed we didn't talk about this. What's going on with this particular card? And you'll talk about it to say, hey, this is what is left. This is where we are. This is what we need to do. So visualize the team data. Very good, very key, helps. Get creative with how you communicate. Context of remote meeting is very different from in-person, yes. But you can develop simple systems to overcome disadvantage of a remote environment. For example, here, you use your raise hand features when you want to talk. And then you could create cards. These cards are e-cards. When most people do this, because they're muted, they will start their conversation while being muted. But you can have virtual cards. They're apps that you just download and someone just pops the card and say, hey, you're muted. And then that particular developer now notices that, oh, I've been speaking on mute all day. Another one could be you're frozen. Most times because of the kind of connectivity we have, you use a lot of bandwidth if you're using your camera on and you're also talking. So sometimes people will get frozen. So you can have a card that it will just pop up and say, hey, you're frozen. And that person will probably come back. And then there's one that people ask for, it's called the Elmo card. Some people are very good with conversation that they just keep going on and on and on, forgetting that there are other people who need to also talk. Someone can pop up the Elmo card. Elmo means enough, let's move on. If the conversation needs to continue, it can continue at the parking lot. You don't need to say everything here at once. Just give your quick update and then move on to the next person. Don't take so much time. Remember that we also have other team members who need to be there. So you can get creative, fun. And here says importance of effective communication. In many ways, effective communication begins with mutual respect, but communication that inspires, encourages others to do their best. So let's come up with creative, fun ways that we can communicate with the team. Make use of online tools. A lot of us use a lot of online tools now, a lot of us. And remember that when the first Agile Manifesto was written in 2001, there was no much of technology back then. Things have changed over the years. There's so many tools now. There's Zoom, there's Teams, there's Google. You can use anything to enhance your meetings, any of these tools. And most organizations now, they already have different tools that they use. You just need to understand which one they use and get accustomed to it. So in the meantime, before you get a job, practice some of this. We have a couple of videos that we've talked about different tools, online tools that you can use. Practice. Go on YouTube, look for videos of some of these tools. Just practice this. How does this work? How do you share screens? How do you schedule a meeting with those tools? You never can tell which one your company will be using. But prior to that, you already have an idea of which one. It could be Teams, it could be Slack. They all have their free versions that you could play with. Don't wait until you get the job to practice those things. All right, take advantage of being inside each other's house. For those who feel comfortable with this, they can share with you. Remember the cool water conversation we talked about? People can introduce you to their pets. You can get to know their kids. You could get to know their partners while on the call. You could do a quick show and tell, maybe show you something fun or something that they love that is in their house that they could quickly show you. I like to do show and tell, and I do different editions. I've done pets edition where people will bring their pets, and for stand up that day, we're going to meet their pets. We're going to see their pets. They'll talk about their pets. And the next one might be show and tell kids edition. If the kids are home, it's already summer. The kids are home, let's get to meet the kids. They feel so loved and they feel welcome. And I've had people who are not even part of the team that heard that this was going to happen. They joined stand up that day just to show us their own pets too as well. Creates an amazing environment. Encouraging people to reveal themselves a little will go a long way to create a sense of psychological safety and trust on the team. This is very important to us. As Scrum Masters, we want to create psychological safety for our team as much as we can do. We want to continue to build trust with the team. This is very key. All right, a crucial information. Above everything, remember that we're people who believe in inspecting and adapting. The way you conduct your daily Scrum in person likely won't work remotely. Things will change. Instead of attempting to simply convert what you did in person to the remote, find what works best, given the new shift or paradigm we find ourselves in. What are some of the ways you've adapted your daily Scrum if you're now working, mostly with remote teams? Any tips you've learned and you want to share? So I'm going to open this up. Who wants to share? What is that new thing that you brought on board for your team during their daily stand-up? Something that is new, you introduced to the team and you guys have adapted. Share with us.
Okay, I can go. So, I mean, I just started, but I was kind of thrown in a little bit to start facilitating some meetings. So with one of my teams, well, both of the teams, they actually don't turn on their cameras. And we did icebreakers, and I actually had a one-on-one with someone, and they were so happy. They were just like, they loved that they turned on the cameras. They loved the icebreakers and made things more fun for them because they haven't seen their coworkers face in like 8 months. And then another one that I did was also the sharing the board during the sprint board during the call. So someone was like, they actually loved that. They never thought about doing that. And it's just little things like that because they never did it. So those are just a few things that I did. I mean, it's not anything extravagant, but just some things that I've done.
Thank you for that. But you did add value to the team and they enjoyed what you did. So
yes,
it might
exactly.
be little, it might be little to you, but for them, it was a whole lot.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Who else? What is that additional thing you've added to your team that you like to share with us? Someone can learn from you. Billy, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I just started too, and my team, one of them, extremely quiet team. So for the daily stand-up, just trying to make them more self-organizing. Introduce because I met them doing giving updates to the PO. So I have kind of introduced past the popcorn bowl. So I make sure that developers, you guys, this is your meeting. We're just here to, I'm just here. I'm not supposed to be receiving updates from you, not actually the PO. So it's your turn, run your show. Past the popcorn bowl, it's just so you guys can start being self-organized from here on the daily stand-up. So they started the first day, okay, they're just doing a lot of it's better organized today than it was when we started. So, and I got the idea from here. I think it was Uche's idea. Also, I can't remember. Well, it's working.
Thank you, Ebele, for sharing. That's a very good idea. Some POs are used to calling people out, or the Scrum Masters will call their names. After this one goes, the next person will call their names, but nah, there are better ways we can self-organize on that. So I like the idea. It could also be called passing the baton. So pass the baton to the next person. That works. Something you can actually adopt on your team. What else? What is that new thing that you brought on your team that you guys do? What about Fridays? How do you guys make Fridays fun? Daily stand-up. What do you do that's different with your team? Let's hear from you.
For my team last Friday, we had somebody ask everybody the question of the day, and the question was, what's your biggest fear in life? And everybody just went around sharing things that they are most afraid of, and it was just really fun. It was a great bonding experience, and we were just all laughing. It was very fun, so we decided to start doing that once in a while. Yeah. Thank you.
That's good. That's fantastic. What else? What have you guys done on your team that has made a difference? All right, go ahead, Jane.
Okay, this is not about it's not about the daily stand-up though, but I just want to talk about something I did during our team working agreement with the team. And I made them accountable for whatever agreements, we agreed on. So one of them was coming late. So we have this team member who's always working in silos, and he doesn't really have, he comes in whenever time he likes. And so during the team working agreement, I told them, I was like, okay, we have to come up with a consequence for, coming late to meetings. And they all suggested to take minutes of the meeting, whatever meeting we have. Someone will have to take minutes for it, or the person will have to facilitate that meeting. And everybody bought into that. And I tell you, this guy was so concerned about it. He was just asking okay, so what's the time limits that you can come in? How late can you come in? And he was like, what about 10 minutes late? I'm like, 10 minutes late to a 15 minute stand up. That's the end of the meeting already. So we decided on 2 minutes, and we were like, okay, even if you can't make it or you'll be running late, send a message prior to that meeting. And he was like, oh, so how soon? He was just so concerned about, being accountable for, not coming to the meeting or even coming late. But I tell you, by the next day, this guy will show up at least 1 minute past the stand-up time. He was so not ready to facilitate or take minutes of the meetings for any of them. So I think that kind of put him in check. And up till now, he's been, making sure he shows up early for our meetings.
Nice. I like that. I like that work that you worked. So now the team is accountable. It's not you as a Scrum Master. It's the team that decided. It's the team who have agreed on what the penalty should be. I've had different teams do all that too in the past. Some people, for every time you're late, you donate $1. At the end of the year, they're going to send that money to charity. Some people have had anyone that comes late is going to dance for them. You will turn on your camera, you will dance for everyone. Other people have had people sing. Trust me, nobody wants to do all these things. So they're very conscious of time. So that's a very good one, Jane.
I actually suggested dancing and singing, and they're like, no way.
So that's a really, really, really good one. The team is accountable now. See, you don't have to lift your finger. Let the team do the work, and they've done it for themselves. So that's very good. Good job there, Jane. Very good job. So which other meeting have you facilitated that has made a change? It doesn't have to be daily stand-up alone. Guys, let's hear from you.